win this? No, tit for tat? Who will win Shane's heart? Find out next episode. This is up.
Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for coming back if you've been here before, or hi, welcome if you're new. My name's Mickey. I'm a therapist and we talk about therapy things on this channel. Today we're doing part 5 of Therapist Reacts to Love is Blind. This is season 2. If you have not seen any of the other episodes that we have done for season 2, I will put that playlist up there. And we have also talked about Love is Blind season 1, so that's also in that playlist. I don't want to do too much yamming on because these videos are already long enough as it is, but just for disclaimers sake, we're filming this before parts 3 and 4 have gone live, and so I don't know really what's going on there, but I have not seen this. I haven't watched this. I am still avoiding all of the TikToks and all of the drama. I keep getting things recommended to me on Instagram and TikTok about some kind of drama that happened with Shake and Deep Tea, and I don't know what's going on, and I just want to know. So we're trying to like really burn through these episodes. So let's just sit down and watch. My head is like really hurting.
Probably didn't drink water all day.
That's, you know.
I mean, I wish I was there. So
I wish you were there too. I love you. But you know what? I just wanted to get back with you. I literally was like, can I leave? Can I leave?
That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like you were having fun.
Looked like?
Yeah, what do you think I was doing out there? I was bored.
You watched it?
Yeah. Well, I watched part of it.
Oh, I was talking to the girl about capitalism. Like,
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that?
Yes.
Did you hear
What
me
do you think I
yelling?
was doing? Yes, I did hear you.
I waved at you. You didn't even wave back.
I was mad. No, not when you were walking out. I watched you when you were walking towards the beach.
I didn't walk towards the beach. That
So
wasn't me.
you were walking this way. Yeah, you were.
But
So you're
I'm
the
like,
only
so-
person that was there without someone else.
Yes.
Okay. It's not that I don't trust you. I do. It's that I don't like in situations that are going to make this not work. Like today.
You know what, though? What didn't work today for us, you and me?
What's going on in my head?
About us?
Everything.
What's going on with us now? There's no penetrating us. Literally.
There is.
There's not.
This stuff is going to cause
You're gonna
big
let
issues.
Do you
Yes.
Why? Why does this cause an issue? Like
Because I
what?
had 3 hours to sit here and not do anything but be in my head. I sat in the closet. I locked the door. I shut this, and I sat in the closet and cried.
Do you think anything tonight changed the way that I feel about you?
I don't know. But if I were to leave for 3 hours and you were to like sit in the closet and cry, you'd probably change the way that you feel. Like if I was the one that was going somewhere, you have to admit, I'm not saying that to like make you feel bad. I just want you to understand where I'm coming from.
Okay. Oh my God. So, from my understanding, what's happening right now is that Danielle feels insecure because Nick went to the gathering by himself, which honestly, to a degree, I can kind of understand given what a fucking shit show the gathering was. However, several large caveats here. One, she doesn't know that. She's only watching it from afar. And so she's not aware of all of the like fuckery that happened. And so it seems a little bit unfair to say that it's, like understandable that she would assume that everyone else is being like low-key unfaithful, or like the implication of unfaithfulness to their new fiancés at this thing. And two, you said this earlier, there's an important thing for us to talk about in relationships, especially in conflict resolution, and Brene Brown talks about this. It's a very common topic of discourse in couples therapy. It's this idea of like the story that you're telling yourself when we get in these disagreements, and especially when our insecurities and our trauma and the baggage that we're bringing to the table is showing up for us. We have a tendency to tell ourselves a story about what we think is happening based on the objective information that we've received. This is morally neutral. This is very human. Everyone does this. However, it may not be super helpful in conflict resolution, and it's also very important for us to own accountability for, first of all, the fact that that's happening, and second of all, how that's impacting our ability to show up in conversations with our partner and to successfully resolve the conflict. For Danielle to say the thing about, I locked myself in the closet and I cried for 3 hours, and if that were you, it would change the way that you feel, is implying a sense of responsibility for her emotions on her partner. To me, that sounds like she's hoping that her partner will take ownership of her emotions, which is not fair or appropriate. It's also not super healthy in a long-term partnership, because we as adult human beings need to be able to take responsibility for our own emotional reactions to things. It's not to say that your partner can't be supportive of you. It's not to say that you can't ask your partner to show up for you and to honor that that's real and to get where you're coming from, to validate that maybe the story that you're telling yourself isn't real or is irrational, but still hurts just the same. But it's not okay for you to say, this is the story that I'm telling myself, and so therefore it is real. You will respond to me in the way that I think you should, and this will dictate the way that our conflict resolution is going to look. Because the fact of the matter is that your partner is also potentially telling themselves a story about this conflict, and they have an equal right to feel how they feel and to have space for their feelings, for their trauma, for their baggage, for their stuff to be sitting on the table. It's frustrating to me that this conflict is being framed from this point of view of like, this stuff is going to get to us and it's going to get in and it's going to ruin things, because it's asserting like a realness that may or may not be there. It's very different to say, I feel afraid that this stuff will get to us, or, you know, not being able to be there brought up feelings for me of being left out, and it made me afraid that maybe you would, I don't know, recognize that you had so much fun without me, and that I'd get left behind. That hits very different than you saying, this is going to cause problems in our relationship, and I'm assigning an emotion to you that maybe you're not experiencing. I hope that's clear. I don't want to like villainize anyone for experiencing emotions, because I think it's fair to experience insecurity, especially in this fucking scenario. People are very much allowed to feel how they feel, but I don't think it's helpful or healthy to do the thing where we say, this is how I feel, and so therefore this is everyone's reality around me.
I had to be here alone by myself.
I told you I didn't
For
have
hours.
to go. Do you believe me? Do you trust me?
I'm not kidding. I don't trust anything right now.
Not even me.
Nothing.
I can't believe you don't trust me at all.
But my word doesn't mean anything to you. No, but you're acting mad at me and you're being toxic and you gotta stop. And you have to start being
I'm not
see this.
I'm not mad
No.
about something.
Stop. Let me finish, please.
You're not making the
This
active
would be
effort
fine.
to stop the toxicity.
Just real quick before we get into whatever fuckery this is, there's a whole series on my TikTok where I talk about helpful tips for conflict resolution with partners and in relationships, not even necessarily in a romantic context, but just in relationships generally. So if you're interested in that, I would encourage you to go follow me on TikTok and look at those. But we talked about things like that in that series of videos. One of which being taking a time out, and I saw that there's a little bit of that happening for them, but Shane is so fucking distracting with his fucking teeth. I'm hopeful that they took more of a time out and like practiced more of those skills, but I guess we will see.
I can sometimes be mistrusting of men, not only because of the way that I look, but because of some of the situations that have happened in my past.
Thank you.
Because I'm scared that they're going to be constantly seeking out someone else. And I'm like, they're always gonna find someone skinnier. They're always gonna find someone hotter. And I wanna make sure that I'm like competing with every single other person out there. And they can sense that. And I distrust people who don't deserve that. A rose by the bed.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I think this is an important moment for us to talk about accountability, because again, I don't want to demonize anyone or villainize anyone for having insecurities. This is morally neutral and this is very human. Everybody brings shit into relationships. Like even the most healthy, self-actualized person brings some level of insecurity into a relationship. We all have buttons. That's fine. The issue is when we don't take accountability for how that impacts our relationships. Because again, it's very different to voice, you know, I have past relationship trauma that makes me fearful of men, and so I'm mistrusting. And so the story that I'm telling myself in this moment is based on that trauma, and I'm afraid. And so what I'm looking for is some reassurance, some open communication about what took place. I'm looking for regular check-ins from you while you're at this event. Like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there are lots of actionable items that we can talk about that, as long as you and your partner feel like there are healthy boundaries there and we're all on board with the give and take there, you're still taking accountability for the fact that this is my shit. I recognize that this is not a reflection of you. I'm not saying that you're a shady person or that you're not trustworthy. It's just that I'm working through some stuff. And while I'm working through it, I'm looking for some support. But instead, we're seeing kind of this energy of like, I'm distrustful and so therefore you're not trustworthy. And I'm therefore going to project my insecurities onto you. And that's not a super fair thing to do to your partner.
I feel like last night derailed.
So I was upset, but when I am bubbling up like that, that's not myself.
I get that. I really get that.
My heart feels like I just want to forgive him and I want him to forgive me and I want all this to be over with.
I love that you made sure that you ordered coffee right away while I was still sleeping.
Duh. Yeah, I told you I would. Typically, we're really good at communicating and letting the other person know, but it hasn't really heightened to this level before. It's an eerie feeling. It's a new feeling, and it sucks.
What are we gonna do today? Do you wanna go to the beach?
Oh.
Of course you spell.
You're
like, I'm gonna
This is why we don't eat in the bed.
And surprise, surprise.
I thought those were fucking dildos for a second.
No coffee in bed for you.
They're
You're
balloons.
balloon animals.
No.
You sick fuck.
I'll have to sit over here and drink it.
Yeah.
I can tell you 100%, if we met in real life and we had an argument like we did last night, that early on, that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
But because
Thank
we
you for
have
proving our point.
this connection and these strong communication skills that we built in the pods, we're able to come back from something like that. I believe that our bond grows stronger and stronger.
As long as you're just smoothing it over, it's like a big rubber band ball. Just slap another one on there, baby.
I don't want to cast doubt on the validity of their experience because I don't know them. I don't, I can't speak for what their lived experience is like, and I think it's disingenuous and also unfair for me to say that's not what it is. But I will say I think this show has a tendency to emotionally manipulate people in such a way that maybe it could possibly feel like their communication skills are more developed than they are. And I hope that that's true for them. But I also would have some very serious questions about like what communication skills specifically we're talking about. In what way are those being actualized? How are we using them? And what times are we using them? Who is responsible for which communication skills? And how that impacted our conflict resolution. Because from the cut that we saw on TV, which again is very highly edited, it did seem like we just kind of smoothed over a pretty serious disagreement with coffee, and we didn't really talk about the underlying issue, which in my opinion isn't going to lend itself to a long-term solution, because that issue will continue to come up again. If we're not having a conversation about this deeper underlying insecurity and this relationship trauma and how that's impacting our relationship now, it's going to continue to happen. It's going to continue to show up and show up and show up unless we are making space to do some like real deep processing and working through it. And it just seems a little bit like rose-colored glasses to say, we worked through it and, we're married now, basically, so everything's fine.
Well, and that's the thing, he said it himself, though, about the real world. He wouldn't have put up with that in the real world.
Yeah.
And then also, because I would imagine to some degree, there's this feeling of, like, well, we have to prove people wrong now. Like, I don't want to go back home and tell my friends I went on this dating show.
Point, actually,
and then came home, so now we will probably double down on things that we wouldn't otherwise.
This is so manipulative.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to look like a failure, like, oh, yeah, it didn't work out.
I wonder if that's part of it. I can only imagine that.
I would feel that way if I was on a show like this.
Too.
I wouldn't want to go back home and look like an idiot.
Oh,
like,
God, that's so
oh,
embarrassing.
yeah, I went on a show and I couldn't find love even when I couldn't see the other person.
Oh, my God. It's fucking mortifying.
That would be a very real thing in my head.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, God, this show is all bad.
I took
Okay,
7 years.
7?
And I have
Okay, I
nothing
took
to
4
show
years,
for it
yeah.
except como esta.
No.
This beach is beautiful.
I know, it's so pretty.
Last night, when all the couples met each other, Mallory and Jarrett were talking for a long time, and I did think that Mallory wasn't interested in me. And that's why I broke down. And then when we got back, I just wanted to go to bed. I know that some people don't like going to sleep angry or upset, but at that point, I was emotionally charged. I didn't want to say anything that I would regret later.
Okay, I want to talk about that because this is a very common misconception and it pushes my fucking buttons. This idea that you should never go to bed angry at your partner. it's made up. Like you are very much allowed to go to bed angry at your partner, or mad or sad or whatever. That's not a real thing. That's not correlated in the research as being a reliable metric for whether you guys will stay together or get divorced, or stay together or break up. And sometimes it is the wise decision to say, you know what? I need a break. I need to sleep on it. I am emotionally charged. I am overwhelmed and I need some time. I want to empower people to honor their emotions and like their inner wisdom. And so if you know that you're in a place where you're going to say things that you're going to regret, or you're just not ready to have the conversation, maybe you need rest, maybe you need time to think, maybe you just, you know, are like fucking tired, maybe you guys have talked for a long time already and you're done. That's very much okay. I am very frustrated, first of all, with these rules that like everyone should always, because that's very difficult to say. It's usually up for interpretation. And I'm also frustrated by this, like, you know, as if the sun setting on a conflict means anything about your relationship. Like, it literally doesn't.
I know we've hit like a couple little bumps, and I just wanted to apologize because I just misunderstood. I don't feel like you meant
We're on the
like
same
call
page.
me out. I know you call me out already.
Oh, I'll call you out.
What she was doing was fucked up.
You're lucky. I would have killed us. Most other people would have probably killed you.
I am very lucky.
Me too.
Are we forgetting the part where she...
I totally get it. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of emotions. It was like the first time, like, you know, the guys were seeing all the women and we were seeing all the guys and we were all in the same room together, and, you know, it's a lot.
Yeah,
so
it's a little nerve-wracking.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and I think too, like, I don't ever want to make you feel like bad. I never want to like hurt you.
Me neither.
And
To you,
so,
though.
Yeah.
Those are hard conversations, and the fact that we're just up to having them together is means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I am like actually sitting here being like, did we miss an episode? I don't understand what he's apologizing for, because from my perspective, I guess this is a very different situation than like the Nick and Danielle thing where he's projecting his emotions onto her. It seemed very clear that there was a flirty energy and communication that seemed to communicate feelings of regret between Mallory and Jarrett, about the fact that they didn't choose one another, which is enough of a reason for a partner to feel wounded, to feel betrayed, to feel upset. And especially for those conversations to be happening while people are intoxicated, it's understandable for people to have hurt feelings about that. I think this also touches on something important too, which is that in conflict among romantic relationships especially, it's very rare that there's only one person who is to blame and the other person is completely, blameless. That's not usually how it works. We typically each have a little bit of stuff on our side of the street that we need to own accountability for and apologize for. And so, like, sure, I guess maybe he overreacted, or maybe he did project some of his insecurities onto her, or maybe there was something said or done behind the scenes, like off camera, that we didn't see. And so I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this. I guess I'm just glad that they both apologized to each other, even though it seemed kind of not very genuine. I'm hopeful that this weird conversation that makes no goddamn sense to me is because the producers are poking and prodding them to make sense of a conflict that was resolved off camera.
So, to our engagement and whatever new challenges we're gonna face, Mal, I'm here for it, okay?
Same.
And I know you are too.
Yeah.
So, cheers. Ooh, that was...
They just... Oh my god, Elmo's gonna sue. I would be so mad. I was just gonna say, they seemed very uncomfortable for that whole exchange. I'm hopeful that it's because the producers, like I said, were poking and prodding them, but I have weird feelings about them.
When I get in a new relationship, like, it's almost immediately, I just immediately cut off certain relationships for me, it's out of respect for my new relationship. Are you still friends with your exes?
Like, I'm not a big fan of burning bridges because you never know.
Why do you call it burning bridges, though? I just call it
never,
boundaries.
I
call it boundaries.
There's definitely boundaries within exes, but it's also like, you never know who you're gonna need down the line. So
you
say
don't
this
need
person
an ex.
She can be somewhere in HR and I'm trying to get in HR and she's looking for a position higher and I'm like, oh, well, you never know though. You never know.
Thank you.
I mean, I also wouldn't be communicating with my ex every damn day. She would know, like, that I'm married, so there's boundaries that I'm not going to cross.
Would she be okay with that?
She has to be. The hell? It's also on me to navigate that, you know.
I'm glad you recognize that, because I would hate to have to point that out to you. That's not comfortable.
No,
I'm like really big on the observation and just reading body language. So if I'm worried, then there's an issue, but I have to see it.
Would you say something like in the moment?
No.
If you were worried?
No. Honestly, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell in the moment if I'm actually worried or not. It would be after the fact, like, hey, babe, that makes me uncomfortable. I can't force you to do anything.
Okay. I mean, because I just feel like if you said something to me and, like, you felt strongly about it, then I would do the necessary things to make sure that you're comfortable within the situation.
And I appreciate that.
I wouldn't just be like, well, I don't care how you feel. Like I wouldn't do that.
I'm trusting your words, but I also need to see it in action.
Okay.
This is so healthy. I think their conversations continue to be a really nice example of what healthy communication looks like, and for two people to integrate their understandings of a similar topic. So like Jarrett talking about, I don't want to burn bridges, and Ayana saying, well, to me, that's just boundaries. And then they flesh out this topic a little bit more, described more what that looks like in action, and described how in a situation that would play out, and realized that they both actually shared the same value about ideally what that would look like in a situational context. And they agree on how to conduct themselves both as individuals and as a unit and a team without starting a conflict, without saying I'm right and you're wrong, I'm right. There was a desire and like open-handed, you know, sort of like I'm choosing to trust. There's like this open-handed sort of like I'm choosing to trust you and like give you the floor kind of a thing to like explain to me what you mean. Like maybe I don't get it at first, but I'm choosing to believe that it's just because I don't understand it and not because we disagree about it, which is a really helpful way to go into these types of discussions. I also love that she said, I'm choosing to trust your words, but I also want to see it in action. There was a lot of like moments in here that I'm like, yeah, I really want to talk about that. I'm going to try not to ramble on and on because I don't want this video to be too long.
That's gonna be long.
Shut up. I love that she said, I can't force you to do anything, because I think that's a very important perspective to take with boundary setting. We can make requests of our partner and voice how we feel, but it is never appropriate for us to try to force anyone, and ultimately we can't force anyone to do anything. When we talk about boundary setting, it's all about what we're going to do and how we're going to respond. I have a whole playlist about boundaries. I will link it up there. And so I love that she took this perspective of like, I'm going to share with you how it makes me feel, but ultimately the action is up to you. And he said, yeah, I don't want to do anything that's going to make you uncomfortable, so I'd be willing to, you know, take the necessary steps. I'm like very hopeful for them.
That does worry me though, honestly.
What?
If I'm being very honest. I mean, I think we've been on this kind of like fairy tale vacation, but I'm kind of approaching a point in my life where I'm gonna have to grind. You know, I'm opening a business, I'm opening an animal hospital. It does make me nervous because I love to have a good time, but I have a lot of responsibility coming up.
Yeah, in the back of my mind, I think about that all the time. And it's like, when we get back to reality, when we start to integrate our lives together, when we start living together, how is it all gonna play out? And I'm here to support you in this, like, you know, career-oriented journey that you're on. And like, I understand it, because now is the time to grind. Now is the time when you're young and you have that energy to put everything you have into your career so that you can enjoy your life later.
I don't think everybody fully realizes that. You really capture my thoughts and feelings so well.
I would love to be there with you on that journey.
Honestly, it means a lot to hear that. I honestly feel like you have my back more than anyone else I've ever met.
I have weird feelings about this conversation, because my fear is that he is saying things to sow seeds of doubt as like a deflection for why the relationship won't work, so that he doesn't have to voice, I'm not sexually attracted to you, which is not a good sign, and also just like not a great place to be in a relationship. For what it's worth, if you find yourself in a situation like this, it's very painful to have these types of conversations. Anytime we find ourselves in a position to share something with our partner that we know is going to be painful, no one wants to fucking do that, you know? Like, I get that, but it is difficult and dangerous and like really not your best long-term option, in my opinion, to skirt around the issue and to try and deflect by using a different issue as like your way out. You know, if there is, especially if there's a deal-breaking issue and you are trying to skirt your way around being honest about it, I think you're doing a disservice to yourself and to your partner by not just being upfront and honest about it. And I'm fearful that that's what he's doing.
It's not like this lusty physical relationship like I've had in the past or looked for, but I think this could be exactly what I need. Maybe we focus less on what could go wrong and focus more on, you know, what could go right.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
At this point, I can't wait to move in together. I think it's gonna be awesome. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm excited for it all.
To the next chapter.
To the next chapter.
I'm just very nervous that he's not leading with full disclosure here, and one partner is investing their full selves with full honesty and one partner is not, and it's going to mean that Deepti gets hurt later and feels betrayed.
What are you both worried about? I do want to know that.
Sometimes I don't see it coming. It's like a freight train out of nowhere.
I'm scared that you're gonna think that how I've been acting is how I'm gonna act for the rest of our lives, and it's not. It's not like that. I just had a panic attack. I'm like really scared of you judging me for how I was when I was going through that. And you the way that you're looking at me right now, I can tell that you are judging me for it.
I'm not judging you for it.
Yeah.
I'm not judging you. I'm trying to understand, and I'm trying to support.
Yeah.
But
no, and I believe you when you say that. I just think that
you don't give me a lot to work with.
it's just like the way that you're responding to me makes me feel like a lot worse.
Trying to understand.
I know.
Like I don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And then if I try and you get more angry, then it's like, what do I do?
Yeah. We don't know how to navigate each other in those situations yet. And that's what's like a huge thing. I know you are. I know you are. I genuinely do trust you, and I know that your intentions are always good. Like, I don't ever want you to think that I'm not thinking that.
When it's so heavy you can't hold it.
Okay, so there's a couple of things I want to unpack there. First and foremost, if her behavior the night of the get-together was reflective of a panic attack, that's very different. People behave in ways when they're having a panic attack that they don't when they're not having a panic attack. I think that's self-explanatory. And again, I think this is my frustration with the show, where things get edited and portrayed in a particular way to make people look a certain way because it's good for TV. And that might not have been the case. Like, she might not have been projecting her, well, I think she was kind of projecting her insecurities, but she might not have been doing it to such a high degree or in such an intentional way. It may have been more of a like dysregulated nervous system situation and not knowing how to cope with that, especially in an environment where you don't have your support system, you don't have safe people. It's unnerving, I think, for most people to be out of touch with your support system and safe people, but especially in the middle of a panic attack, that's very overwhelming. But I think this again highlights the issue with this perspective that because we got to know each other in the pods before we could see each other, that we have these highly evolved communication skills. Maybe, or maybe not, you know, like maybe you guys know a decent amount about each other, but your actual ability to navigate difficult situations with one another is just simply not there yet, which also is okay. Like, that's very normal. I want to like be clear about that. That's not a failing on their parts. I don't think anyone who's known each other for this short of amount of time could effectively navigate a situation like that in a successful way. Like, you just don't know each other well. You don't understand where the person is coming from. You don't have any experience. You don't have the tools. Like, just simply put, you don't have the tools. And so again, I'm frustrated by this expectation that if you don't have these communication skills, and you're not navigating these situations perfectly, it's because you didn't use the pods efficiently, or because you're like failing at this experiment, and like maybe love isn't blind, and like Nick Lachey's whole monologue about like, will you know, be this like materialistic fuck who like lets the world steal your love from you. Like, maybe people are entitled to move through this process in an imperfect way, because this is really fucking hard and a very unrealistic fucking expectation. Some things that I want to unpack situationally in terms of conflict here. I will say I'm kind of on her side a little with the way that he's responding.
He's not doing his best.
Yeah, when we use that tone of voice with our partner, when they're voicing insecurities, and we do like the therapist voice, like the de-escalation voice, it can make a person feel stigmatized and frustrated. I tell my husband all the time when I'm in a place like that, if he uses the T-Rex voice with me, that it further upsets me and pushes my emotional buttons. Meaning that, sorry, I should explain what that means.
What is the T-Rex voice?
You know exactly what the T-Rex voice is.
I know what you're talking about, but I want to hear your...
You want me to mimic your T-Rex voice on camera?
Yeah.
You do a thing where you go, okay, so I think right now we're just really frustrated.
Is that how a T-Rex would talk?
No, but you do the thing where you're like trying to hold as still as possible so that the T-Rex won't see you and won't eat you.
Does it work?
No.
It's true.
It doesn't work. But that's kind of like a similar vibe where the body language and the voice sort of indicates like, I'm just trying to be very still, and like I just think you're very upset right now, and it can actually be very inflammatory. And this is what I mean about coming to conversations with this disingenuous kind of attitude. If you are trying to put on this sort of air of a therapist, but it's not authentic to who you are, it can actually just further upset your partner and push buttons and make the conflict worse. It's honestly better to just lean with a sense of authenticity and say like, I don't know, like I don't know what to say, like I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what the right thing is to say. And he did the thing where he like threw his hands up and was like, that's actually like kind of a useful thing to be like, I don't know, like I am lost for how to respond in the best way. I don't want to upset you further. I'm trying to be supportive. Like how do I do that? Like, is there something that I should say? Or there, like, should we take a break so we can like have some time? Help me help you. That feels much more authentic and more like we're in this as a team and a unit than me, the therapist-y person, is trying to like just sort of pet you and calm you down. Also, the lack of eye contact and this thing can communicate to your partner that you're not paying attention, that you don't care. That's not super helpful either. And so when we find ourselves in that place, I really want to encourage people to take a time out, take some time to process and come to a more calm emotional place so that we can communicate more clearly.
Too much for you to show me. Hanging by my
He's hugging.
I thought that man was leaving. That looks like a good hug.
Yeah, sometimes that's a good option too. Like, I don't know what to say, but I'll give you a hug. Would a hug help? Would some cuddles help? Some food? Blankie? Something to drink?
Up to you.
This is really cute, though. This trip has been the best. Just seeing his smile and like just the way he hugs me and the way he holds my hand, it just like...
To our first dinner date.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Look at that full glass guy, too.
Ooh. I think just having the conversations.
With your parents and everything.
And your mom, too. And
Yeah,
your
but my
siblings.
mom's being fine with it, though.
I know, but it's like also...
Are you wearing that right dress for my mom?
For your mom.
Why? I mean, it's sexy.
What?
I like it.
No, I'm gonna wear a freaking turtleneck in the middle of the summer. I might wear like an entire just like zip up onesie, honestly.
My man does like clothes.
I think he has a
Are you happy with everything that's been going on the last couple days with me?
Mm-hmm.
Besides me like ripping out your soul with all my energy, is there anything else or no? That's who I am, though. I can't really help that.
When you're with your guy friends, it's like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I think in that way, we're like different people. I don't think we have to work on it. It's just something I have to like get used to.
Yeah.
I mean, it is who you are, so I think it's fine.
And that's the person you love, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you give me a little more love in that or not?
I was like, yeah. Yeah.
You gotta give our relationship a little more credit. I think.
Yeah, it's not like I don't. I'm just saying, like.
Okay.
You joke a lot about our relationship. But how often do you say like how good it is?
But like, why do I have to? Why do we need to like talk about how great it is with other people?
Because we both joke around with each other a lot, though, right? Well, honestly,
So,
I brag all the time about us.
I know, and I want you to, but it's just like not my style. Why are you getting like defensive over it?
I'm not. No, I'm not.
I'm sorry. It was just the way you're like raising your voice at me. It was weird. Are you like upset that I don't brag about
No,
our
I'm not.
relationship?
I'm not upset about it. I'm just like, why can't you brag about it? Like you don't brag about your purses, your coats. You brag about how a guy treats you. That's something you should brag about.
I just show my love differently. I think you have such high expectations. Yeah, I'm not about PDA. I'm not gonna always like be like super affectionate with you.
I didn't
It's just
ask
not-
that question.
You're like freaking out at me right now, I feel like.
I'm not. Did I raise my voice? I have a conversation with you.
I know, I'm just like shutting down during it right now.
Respect it. Don't shut the fuck up and sit back down.
Baby, stop it.
Are you fucking kidding? I hate when people. Oh.
Why would you leave?
That's such a. That's some quitter ass shit. Like they weren't even having a hard conversation yet.
Okay.
I take my relationship so seriously, I'm just gonna walk away. Oh my god. If it's not her, if that's not how she feels, go ahead, take the floor, baby. It's your show.
I have so many issues with this. Okay, so this is, again, a good moment for us to highlight that conflict resolution does not always have to look healthy and happy and easy, right? Like, sometimes conversations are like a back and forth and kind of tenuous, yeah.
Okay, real quick though, if he's gonna walk away like that and take, like, if he needs a breather, like, that's fine, but he needs to, don't, like, storm off. Like, that's different than being like, I need a minute, give me 5.
Yeah, I agree.
We're right here, baby.
Yeah,
We're right here. Take over.
I see you.
You got this.
And so I appreciate that Natalie was communicating, like, I'm shutting down right now. I feel like you're raising your voice at me, like all of those types of things. I think we probably should have taken some type of time out in the middle of that conversation, or just said, like, I need a minute, like, let me take a couple deep breaths, like, let's just eat our food for a minute, and then we can continue this conversation. But I want to clarify first and foremost the difference between taking a break and doing the thing where we abandon our partner. I can't believe it's taken us this long to clarify this. I probably should have clarified this fucking ages ago. When I say take a break, what I mean is to communicate to your partner, I'm overwhelmed, I'm shutting down, I'm very emotional, I might say things that I am going to regret, and so I need a minute. The advice that I give to my clients, or that I encourage people to take advantage of, is to actually set a timer on your phone, especially if you're at home when the argument is taking place. Set a timer on your phone in a mutual place, like a public, not public, but like central location in the house, so that everyone can hear it, and say we're setting a timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever the fuck works for you. Set the timer and then come back to the conversation so that everyone has a mutual understanding of how long we're taking a break for, where we're going to be during the break, and respect each other's privacy and time. But what we're not ideally supposed to do during a break is, first of all, storm off and say, I'm fucking out of here. And also not commit to continuing this conversation with your partner another time. Because essentially what you're doing is you're emotionally abandoning your partner during a time where they're emotionally overwhelmed, but you're also, it's a grab for control. It may not be intentional, you may not be choosing to do that, or they may not be doing it maliciously, but essentially what you're doing is saying, we're not going to talk about it until I've decided that we're going to talk about it, and so I'm leaving. I am removing our ability to have this conversation, and I hold the power here. And so when I want to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. But until then, you get to sit in your shit alone. And that's not super fair. It's different for us to communicate, I can't do it right now. I'm overwhelmed. I need a minute. Can we please set a timer and we'll talk about it? Like, I want to have this conversation with you. I am committed to working on it, but I just don't have the space right now, or I don't have the tools right now. That's very much okay. Everyone is allowed to set those boundaries about what we're doing with ourselves, but the way that we do it can communicate so much about our respect for our partner, our love for our partner, and our ability and our desire to continue to work on resolving the conflict in a way that honors those things. When we storm off and we say, I'm fucking out of here, I'm done with this, we're communicating that not only do I not respect and love you enough to value, you know, our mutual communication, but I'm also choosing to place my emotional regulation above yours or at the detriment of yours, and that can feel really bad to be on the receiving end of. And not to say that everyone will interpret it that way, but it can very much feel that way. So I was really about to be like, wow, good for Natalie and Shane, they haven't had any fucking disagreements on this trip, and then here we are.
You analyzed the shit out of that, babe. That was, well,
thank you.
Fucking, yeah, hell yeah.
Thank you.
Masterclass, and there's some good fucking learning in here. I tell you what. Oh, I've been there.
I've been there too.
You know what? I don't care. I literally don't care.
Where's your ring?
You're being weird.
Man, she's done with you, dude.
You're being weird.
Well, I don't know where we're standing. Like, I don't know where we're at. I'm just confused.
I just was not
So it's his
comfortable
mom's ring.
spending the night together,
Yeah.
sharing a bed.
Oh, yeah.
It was moving way too fast.
Yeah.
Like, it did freak me out.
I don't have to act pretentious and smart.
You're yourself.
Yeah, I can be myself. You get me the most, by far. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about, like, the logistical life that we're gonna have together.
I know. At the end of the day, it does worry me because these things that we're fighting about, I'm never gonna change.
Yeah.
Your stance on those things are never gonna change.
Yeah.
So are we gonna keep running into a wall where it's the same argument for the rest of our lives? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand, yeah.
I wanna stay true to like my core and like my beliefs.
But we can work on that.
you
I'm
can.
willing to compromise on so much other shit that I normally wouldn't because there's so much I love about you.
Wow, babe, you called that.
What should we be is the question.
I chose Kyle. I said yes to Kyle, but I can't stop like thinking about Shane. I can't explain
Okay,
it.
but she didn't say that.
I do
though.
have love for Shane. Still, at the end of the day, it's true love. Time reveals all truth. We will see.
Okay.
Regardless of him deciding to marry Natalie, I'm here to find my husband, not to take a back seat to Natalie with her feelings for Shane.
Oh, doing this? Oh, tit for tat? Who will win Shane's heart? Find out next episode. This is fucked up. Is this real? Did she just say that?
Is she gonna participate in this only to try and unseat
Steal.
Natalie?
Oh my god.
6 couples fell in love and got engaged.
I don't care about Nick. Go away.
I know that there's nothing like going on with Jared or anything like that, but at the same time, like, I guess we never really had like an in-depth conversation about it, and I wanted to make sure that whatever did happen that night, I mean, if there is something that I need to be concerned about.
This is something that, like, I felt like happened, we talked about, and we were good. I don't understand, like, where.
I guess it worried me that you and him were talking for so long, and I just read into it.
When we talked before, you're like, well, I'm not jealous. How did you feel?
Jealousy is a valid emotion.
It's fear.
Honestly, Mel, like, I don't know if this is me just
It's
imagining
the story he's
things
telling
after
himself.
you spoke to Jared. I thought I heard you say it that we don't necessarily have to get married. It bothered me. I would, look,
Why
I just...
is this happening right now? I'm feeling just like a little like blindsided by all this. I said if we felt like at the end of this that we weren't ready to like get married, then it's okay if we don't.
I understand
we
that.
talked about
I
this-
just didn't understand why that was the first thing that was said when we talked right after you had spoken to Jared.
That would make me feel some type of way.
That's fair.
And I did think that you weren't interested.
In you? He did make a little bit of a comment about like my ring not being gold. It could have been right after the comment was made about the ring, and then in my head I felt like, well, I don't know, we're engaged. Do you know me then? Like, I don't know, like maybe I'm a little bit in my head then too.
I didn't know about the ring. I didn't know that it had actually affected you like that.
I love my ring. Sometimes I can't tell like how much you really care about me.
You are my fiance, and I want to do that. Look, I know you love your ring, and I could have asked more details, and that's my fault. At the end of the day, I chose this ring, and I wanted to give it to you.
And I love it.
I just don't understand why he would make that comment to you. It's like, that's not cool. Even with your fiance there, you're still saying this shit about someone else. You already have another fiance. Like, why are you doing this?
Okay, so that conversation I super duper appreciate. And again, I want to highlight this as an example of the fact that healthy communication does not always have to look perfect. A lot of times we put ourselves in this box of, I have to communicate in a particular type of way or use the right words or only come at this from this like super calm, level-headed type of way. And like, that's not what we saw. Mallory got a little defensive, Sal got a little defensive, but at the end of the day, we were still able to regulate our emotions enough that we could hear our partner, we could take accountability, and we could understand where the other person is coming from. That's the goal. That's the goal that we're trying to reach when we're having these difficult and uncomfortable fucking conversations with the person that we love. Not to show up perfectly, not to say all of the right therapy words, but just to be able to get there, to get to the place where we're, first of all, suspending our need to be right, but second of all, able to put our emotions in enough of a like emotionally regulated container that we can hear why they said the thing that they said, why they behaved the way that they did, what was happening for them, what the story they were telling themselves was. And we learned a lot about each other in that interaction. Sal learned that Mallory had some feelings about her ring, and that Jarrett said some stuff that brought up these feelings for her. And ultimately, what we learned at the end of the day is that they were both operating from this place of fear and scarcity, which again highlights the fucking problem with this goddamn show, but we've harped on that enough. I'm excited that Sal and Mallory had this conversation. I hope that they are continuing, or did continue to have conversations like this, because I think it was very illuminating. And these are the types of, this is what I'm saying. When we talk about like going on a dream vacation and like doing all of these activities and playing volleyball and like having street tacos, like great, that's wonderful. That's a fun bonding experience, sure. But those are not the moments that are going to cement this type of bond with a person. These difficult conversations where you're sitting on a couch and talking about like an uncomfortable fucking thing that happened that made you feel some type of way. These are the moments that help you really get that traction with your partner, because you're learning things about them. Not only are you learning things like surface level things about Mallory's preference for her engagement ring, but also that they have this tendency to be in this place of fear, and that Mallory wants to feel reassured about the way that Sal feels about her, and that Sal felt uncomfortable with the way that she interacted with Jared, and that there was some fear and discomfort about her commitment to the experiment after the cameras were over. These are useful things for us to know about each other. And so again, I guess the point with this is that I really want to encourage people to take these skills that we're seeing on TV and to apply them in a practical and useful way in your own relationships. Stop doing the thing where you hold yourself to this really high standard of being this fully self-actualized human being in conflict. Be honest, be genuine, take breaks when you need them so that you can regulate your emotions. And really try to get to this place where you can hear your partner out and understand where they're coming from. And I guess that's it. So let's unpack. Overall, honestly, I thought this episode was more useful in terms of talking about actual skills for normal people. There was less overwhelming fucking drama in the last episode, which was nice. I don't know, I have mixed opinions about all of the couples. I still have a lot of frustration and vitriol for the proverbial powers that be at Netflix for subjecting people to this experiment and playing with people's emotions and trauma in this way, because in my opinion it is very unethical. I don't want to discount the relationships that may or may not have resulted from this experiment, because if they're real and happy, then I think that's wonderful and great, but I feel some type of way about the fact that this show fucking exists. So, like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, make sure to turn notification bells on too, because these videos are not going to be regularly scheduled content. They're just going to show up sporadically as we get them edited, because I'm really trying. Me and my husband are really working our asses off to try and film these and edit these and like get them out. So also like the video just to like, you know, help the channel and be nice. Leave me comments, let me know what your guys' thoughts and feelings are. And then share the video to help the channel grow and to help each other grow. And I will see you guys next Saturday. Okay, bye.
Excellent. We did it.
We did it.